So welcome to our cost-efficient sourcing of unique pattern designs webinar today with Jenny. And you can see us here on the camera, which we will turn now off so you can concentrate on the slideshow. And so the big question, as we mentioned, is how to save up to 75% of your design fees. And this is what we are explaining today. So first of all, we are going to introduce ourselves, who we are and why we are talking about this. And then, of course, we will explain why would you want to work with us. Also, how and which are the different ways to buy design in general, and also how to save the money from the pattern design fees. So this is our subject today.
Hello from my side as well. As Christina began already, we have established the Patternsfrom Agency Limited as a company only about a year ago. I'm working there as a CEO, and Christina is the creative director in the company. Despite of the young age of the company, we have been working as a design agency developing the company since 2014, both nationally here in Finland and internationally around the world. At the moment, we are 2 agents and 10 Finland-based designers. Our first financial year is still on process, but we estimate the turnover to be around 250,000 euros. And out of that, about 90% comes from the international markets, which mainly are Japan, China, and Southeast Asia. As said, we work with Finland-based designers. Today they are 10. We began with only 3 of them. We have quite high pressure to increase the number of the designers. And most likely we are doing it at some point. We only work with educated designers, so all of them have master's or bachelor degree in design or pattern design. The designers, they also work as independent designers or freelance designers, besides of designing for our agency. About once a year, we have portfolio reviews, and during those we seek new talents. We see what kind of talents there are out there, and what kind of people and what kind of styles could add on value to our business. So what does Patternsfrom Agency really do? How have we learned the lessons that we are teaching to you today? So we find ready-made or customized patterns for our customers' collections. So customers can contact us and make a request of certain kind of patterns for certain kind of needs. And we search our archives or we design them either as individual standalone patterns or then as part of customers' collection. And we even design entire concepts for our customers. Our agency negotiates the agreements on behalf of the designers, meaning that we are in between the designers and the customers. Each agency defines their ways of working or their pieces in the design process a little bit differently, but yes, this is the way how we operate. We do also sniff for design trends, and also we sniff for new business opportunities for the designers. We harmonize the design process with 3 pattern concepts, which we update on a regular basis. We will tell more about those later on. We also represent and coach the designers to meet the needs of the pattern design market. As well as when the designers design ready-made patterns. So we try to find and contact the suitable customers for those patterns.
So what is the customer actually paying for when they are buying a pattern? This might be really familiar to you, but still it's somehow important to show it as this kind of bullet points to see what we are doing, what the designers are doing, and where the price comes from. So basically, the pattern doesn't ever just drop out of the designer's head, but it needs a lot of work before anything happens. So first of all, collecting ideas and inspiration in many ways. Designers doesn't work normal office hours, but they always have to be open-minded what's around them and collect ideas and inspiration. All of our patterns, like most of the patterns you can see anywhere, are somehow sketched before they are turned into data files. So drawing, painting, cutting, photographing, each designer has their own ways of sketching, and many of them use many ways of sketching, always depending also about the trends that are going on, but also how the designer herself is keen to sketch. So also part of the design process is creating a story, how the idea came to life, if it was something the designer saw or in a when traveling, or just some imaginary thing, or what is the story behind the actual design. It could be text or pictures or sketches or whatever that tells how it became alive. After these first sketches and ideas has been collected, then starts the actual developing of the pattern with the computer. And after it somehow come together as a pattern, it has to be also finished as a production ready pattern file, which means that the colors are separated and the repeat is made. Then the pattern has to be colored depending on the customer's preferences or the trends. Usually we make from 1 to 3 colorways so that the customer can see how the pattern works in different background colors, or also possibly in different scales sometimes. And then really important part of the design process is also somehow collecting comments on other colleagues or agent or friend or whomever to see that how a customer would take the pattern, because sometimes the designers can become blind if there's some other meanings that she means there to be, or if the colors are not right or something like that. So the feedback is super important too. After the actual pattern is made, then we also need a lot of different kind of pictures to show how the pattern works. So mock-ups, sample prints for fairs, prints, pictures for social media, and so on. And then gathering all the material and marketing and sales is also part of the process. So you can see that it's not just something that pops out easily. So in our agency, we have a common concept that makes the designer's work a bit easier, since the ready-made patterns are made without knowing the end customer. So we need to have some threads to follow for the designers. And so also this helps our collection to stay somehow coherent, and also helps the customer find fitting patterns from different designers, not only from one designer for their collection. So we have classy designs, then lovely designs, and whimsical designs. And these design concepts are updated yearly according to coming trends. So we follow up the trends forward as far as we can. And then also the patterns that are in our collection are divided in pattern groups, so that it's easy for the customers to see the pricing and the usage that is thought for the pattern. So we have wow, fab, cool, and awe. So wow is as the name says, is the most expensive and most difficult and most unique ones, and the awe is more like simple things that are easy used for some smaller products or add-on patterns. The collection is updated 4 times a year, so all the time we are having some new patterns. And in addition, we also have a wide stock of ready-made patterns that can be recolored, scaled, or otherwise modified if needed.
So, at this point, I would like to remind that if you have any questions, either during the webinar, please feel free to ask in the chat, or if you are checking out this as a video in our YouTube channel, so you can make a question in the comment field, and we will reply to you then later on in YouTube. But about the 3 common ways to buy and sell pattern designs, During the years which we have been active in this field, so we can say that there are as many ways to buy pattern designs as there are sellers, and vice versa, as many ways to sell patterns as there are buyers. So this business doesn't have clear rules or clear how to say history on how to operate, because it depends. But to give you a rough idea, so there are three most common ways, or the most common way probably at today, or which has been going on for some time, is to hand over all the rights of the design. This means that the pattern is sold as it is and without any restrictions. The buyer may have the right to change the colors, or change the scaling, or edit even the pattern after buying. Those pattern design process, what Christina explained to you a couple of slides ago. So the price of the pattern includes all those steps. So and it's just one lump sum that the designer gets as a compensation for his or her work. So saying this, so the price may hike to quite high, and even here there are lots of differences on the price level, depending on where the pattern comes from and how experienced the designer is, how fast he or she is to draw or to create new ideas, how unique the patterns really are, or how similar they are to each other. However, in this point, the risk is always buyers. So the buyer pays a lump sum and can utilize then the pattern as much or in the ways how the customer wants. Another common way is to sell a pattern with a royalty agreement. And that means that the risk as well as the profits, so that is shared. And the designer in this case is paid by the sales of the final product. Here as well, the compensation to the designer, it varies a lot depending on the product group and how famous the designer is, or there are lots of variables that affect on the royalty percentage. Then the third common way, which we are actually using at the Patternsfrom agency, is to sell the rights to use the pattern design. It's different from the total royalty agreement because we just limit the rights to use the pattern. There is either time limitation or market limitation or product or product group limitation, or all of them. And this is the golden secret that we want to share with you today. That's this kind of way to operate is really cost efficient for the buyer, since the designer is entitled to sell the pattern also for different purposes and different customers, for different purposes, different markets, for different products. Or then just simply later on, as after the agreement, the first agreement is the time limit is up. So the third point, the third way is really the key for being able both to source the patterns cost efficiently, as it is for designers to sell the patterns and gain better income. So we will, for the next 2 slides, we explain a little bit how our agency works and what are the ways that we have found suitable for our customers, and how we have been able to help our customers to really save money in the design fees of unique patterns. So as a repetition, we sell the rights to use the pattern and never the pattern itself. The designer of the pattern has the rights to the pattern, the copyrights and the commercial rights. And we just borrow the rights for our customers. And we always make a written agreement with our customers on how they can use the pattern. And many design studios and other agencies, they consider this point as very challenging, because it requires a little bit of agreement writing work. But let us say that it is definitely worth it, so that both parties have the agreement in written, black on white, for how to operate. What are the rights of the buyer and what are the rights of the seller? Sometimes we combine the limited rights and the royalty agreement, depending on the market situation and customers' needs. The points that we introduce here, so they are not the only ones, but depending on the case, depending on the situation, so we are flexible in negotiating the terms so that it fits on both parties. The pricing is flexible, and it depends on the customer company's size and needs. So our customers, they can have unique patterns for really reasonable price, but it requires that they are able to bargain with the exclusivity. In our agreements, we divide the world in 10 market areas, and we have 6 product groups for the possible usages. And usually most of our customers, they are happy with the one product group and one market. or later on. Yes, it's in this slide. So yeah. So how we sell the rights to use the patent. So we have 3 levels for the exclusivity. The most cheap for the customer is that they choose one market and one product group. We have also the time limitation in use. So one market out of 10 and one product group out of the 6 product groups. So this is really working possibilities for many of our customers. Then we have also the semi-exclusive way. There, the customer chooses either one market with all product groups or all markets and one product group. The difference to the previous one is that, for example, a company that is making wallpapers, they can buy the pattern with these semi-exclusive rights for certain product groups, say wallpaper, but for one market, say EU or Europe. But then this same customer is happy that the same pattern can pop up in the EU, but in different product groups, say fashion. Then the third level of the exclusivity is the global exclusive, and that includes all 10 markets and all 6 product groups. Also here we have the time limitation. Besides of selling the individual ready-made patterns, we also design patterns by commission, as well as provide different service packages. And we will tell more about those a little bit later on.
So before I was explaining about the pattern concepts that we are using. So here's an example that you can see how our collection is designed. So at the moment we have Classy, which is called Nordic Light, and that's for next until next time textile basically. And then we have a new Classy concept, and then we have Lovely Patterns, and this year the concept is called Vintage Treasure. It's more romantic. And then we have a whimsical pattern concept, which is this year Paper Plane. So it's more fun and more playful, maybe for more for kids, but also for adults. Our patterns, ready-made patterns, are arranged in pattern families. So our designers always design 3 different patterns that are fitting together. So they can be sold separately, so they are not too similar. If some, for example, competing companies would like to have patterns from the same family, it doesn't matter. But anyway, they are similar enough to be complementary patterns, so that you can put the whole product line with these patterns together. So here we can also see the example. This is Siri Huavila from Non Design Studio, one of our designers, and she has also given us some pictures from the design process. So this pattern family was created while traveling in Canada in Stanley Park. So she had made up sketches and pictures and so on. And also here we can see a mock-up picture that where you can see how the pattern actually works in real life products. And all these stories and these design sketch ideas and some the designer story and pictures are part of the deal when you buy the right to use the pattern, so you can use this kind of material in your marketing.
So, as a repetition, how Patternsfrom agency works, we sell the patterns in 3 different ways. We have those ready-made patterns, which is a wide collection of unique production-ready patterns. Some of them are visible on our web page, which we update 4 times a year. They are divided into those 3 pattern concepts: classy, lovely, and whimsical. And their price depends on the terms of use, saying the market, the end products, and the time, as well as the complexity of the pattern. And the price includes 1 to 3 trendy colorways of the pattern. It includes production-ready PDF file. So the pattern is always in repeat, so you can just begin using it. As well as the price includes the pattern story, designer's bio, and her image, which you can use in the marketing of the final product. Then out of those ready-made patterns, if you would like to have them customized somehow, so we are really happy to change the colors or add or reduce some colors, add or reduce some motifs. Sometimes the customers need a 2-way pattern, even though the original pattern is designed as a 1-way, so changing it is no problem. We can change also the scaling to be fit for your products. To make the scale smaller is always possible, and in most of the times to make it bigger as well. It depends on the vectorizing of the original file. And we can also combine 2 or more patterns. If you have elements, if you like elements on one pattern and you would like to have them set to the other pattern, so that's completely possible. Then we also design patterns on commission, custom made, both single patterns or entire collections. We have 10 professional talents to help you, so there is always a workforce available, with a little bit of scheduling though. We also have different kinds of service packages, more of them here. We can make you a creative pitch. There you share with us the themes mood boards and other materials which you as the customer have created and for which you need the patterns. We go through our pattern archive, which includes about 500 patterns. And we handpick a selection of 10 unique patterns that is based to the materials that we received to you. And those patterns are delivered as such, meaning that they have the original colorways and original scaling. But it gives to the textile designer professionals an idea of how the pattern would look like if, no changes are made. And we negotiate then the license to use the patterns separately. We have been having a couple of collection coordination projects as well. There, it's us that create the design story and the mood board, as well as the color chart for the customer. And this package includes 7 colors in either spring and summer or fall and winter colors. We begin with more colors, but during the process, so we discuss with the customer on their color palettes and the needs of the markets as well, or the wishes of the markets as well. We go through the archives and choose 10 unique patterns that could be suitable for this concept, and we change the colors of those patterns so that you can see them as production-ready patterns. Also here, we negotiate separately the license for using the patterns. Then the third way to get a pattern from us is that we design them completely on commission for you. We expect the themes, colorways, and mood boards from the customer, and we will make sketches for 10 completely unique patterns. We pitch those for you, and the customer chooses either the favorite designer based on those sketches, or we can divide the work in-house as well. The sketches are not yet in repeat and they are not yet final. So later on, the sketches can be developed into repeats and finalized as production-ready PDF files. But this point is not a must. This service is actually only for the sketches. And if you like the repeats, so we negotiate then the license to use the patterns. In these on commission cases, so there as it's commissioned work, so in this case the rights, they are given to the customers, the commercial rights.
So coming to the end, what was it again that we were talking about? So we were talking about how to save up to 75% of your design fees. And of course, the points that are more easily taken from this presentation is buy a right to use a pattern, not a pattern. So this makes the price always lower, or not always, but usually lower. But it needs that the customer defines in advance what is the company needing, what kind of pattern, in what kind of use market, for how long the pattern should be used. So then we can start negotiating which terms of use would be right for your company. So this is super important. And as Jenny just explained to you, our services and our different ways of working with the ready-made patterns. So always we come to down to the idea, what is the customer's need? And that's important point, because sometimes I think some customers that we have met first think that maybe this is too expensive for us, for example, because they don't necessarily see that maybe they don't actually need the exclusive rights, the global exclusive rights for this pattern. So this is where we can help you as agents to define what is the actual need for the rights that you have. And we are open for the discuss. So if you have a need for lower price but unique patterns, don't hesitate to ask, so we can always negotiate and try to see how it would work with your company. And for this selling the right to use the patterns, you can always think that this is the way to make fair and sustainable business with any designer, not only with us, but any designer. And this is something that is nowadays important in all the scales of how the company works. And this is also the way how you can save up your design fees. So this is the message that we want to tell you, and please just contact us, follow us in social media, in LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and in our blog. And don't hesitate to ask if you like some of our patterns or need help. So we are here to help you, and we are open to discuss with you the pricing and the terms of use. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.